Tonight on Road Madness, maniacs in a hurry to pass take risks you won't believe. Motorists caught on camera running red lights in situations that will leave you wondering why they did it in the first place. And Road Madness American style, video footage of bad driving in the United States. Cameras mounted in trucks travel the country catching dangerous driving, near fatalities and tragic crashes. And cameras at intersections and train crossings reveal shocking driving behaviour that costs Kiwis their lives. Some of it's hard to believe, some of it's laughable, and some is just plain crazy. Welcome to Road Madness. G'day, I'm Ewen Gilmour. Using the latest in vehicle drive cam technology, real truck drivers simply hit the camera to start filming the mayhem that happens in front of them every day on our roads. In New Zealand, our give way law is about to change, but back when this next incident happened, the law was pretty damn clear. Vehicles on your right have the right of way at intersections. The truck pulls into a small town as a car approaches an intersection and is meant to give way. But looking at that again, you can see that the driver of the other car was never going to stop. In fact, they don't even have their indicator on. But luckily, the truck driver was slowing down. The car gets shunted back and help is quickly on hand. This time our camera is in a concrete truck. That beeping is the indicator, and he's planning to turn right at this next intersection. He had the right of way, or at least he should have. The truck driver has had to slam on his brakes. Not easy when you consider a full concrete truck weighs up to 35 tonnes. In reality, the car only had to wait 10 seconds to let the truck go by. When you consider how big a truck is, you think it'd be impossible for other drivers not to see one coming. But somehow it happens. Nice straight road, visibility to Africa. The truck driver should be able to relax here, but no. Again in slow-mo, the driver of the silver car looks to slow down for the approaching intersection. So how does he miss seeing the truck? We think the driver must have been concentrating on the dark ute. Maybe he only quickly glanced in the opposite direction and didn't spot the truck. So he keeps focusing on the ute and smash, completely sideswiped. We've shown you a lot of near misses in the past few shows. In this next video, you're going to wonder how the driver made it through in one piece. A car passes a truck as the passing lanes start to close and the lanes merge. But then instead of slowing down, the driver of the car decides to pass the truck in front, even over solid yellow lines. And they're solid for good reason. There's a bend coming up and no way to see around it. Now it gets interesting. The road narrows and the car is forced further out onto the opposite lane, when another truck appears around the corner and the car just gets through. Look at that. The car only makes it through the smallest of gaps. That was close. A word of advice, when you pull a stunt like that, don't pull over for a coffee for quite a while. Why? Because you're likely to get a very angry trucker yelling in your face. Here the road has solid yellow lines, but that doesn't stop this moron from attempting to pass. And they only just make it. Look at that. A couple of seconds later and they wouldn't have made it. Yep, it does pay to sit back and wait sometimes. Somebody should have said that to this next joker. It's a tight winding road and a truck is approaching a blind corner when a car comes the other way. Then out of nowhere an idiot goes flying past. Look at that in slow motion. Both the truck and the oncoming car had to completely stop to avoid a terrible crash. And if the oncoming car hadn't have pulled right over, a major collision would have been unavoidable. Bad overtaking is all about drivers making bad decisions. Often they misjudge the road or they fail to notice things because of poor visibility. Like here, where it's late afternoon, the light is fading and we're approaching a blind corner. Two cars are approaching in the distance when suddenly this maniac decides to pass. And look at what he's forced the other drivers to do. Basically, one cuts the other off to make sure they don't collide with the oncoming vehicle. Now here we are on what looks like a nice clear stretch of road. There's no yellow lines on this side, so this car is allowed to overtake. Trouble is, it doesn't allow for the length of the truck it's overtaking. And look what appears around the bend. The car just makes it. What does our expert truckie, Steve Mitchell, think of this case of road madness?
If he'd been sticking to the law and given himself 100 metres of clear open road throughout the whole manoeuvre, he would have done it right. But apart from that, quite often they see a broken line and they think, oh yeah, we can overtake here. Coming up on a blind right-hand bend like that, it should actually be a solid line, so that the people see that beforehand. It immediately tells them there's a danger.
It just goes to show the road markings may indicate it's safe to pass, but there's a whole lot of other factors you've got to allow for. Now, our truck cameras aren't just confined to New Zealand. We also have them in trucks in Australia and trucks in the USA. This scene looks calm as the truck drives down the highway. In front, a car gives way on the left. The car in front goes through. Then there's a moment of road madness. You have to wonder why the driver let the car through but didn't see the truck. Obviously another case of looking the wrong way at the wrong time. This next American video shows how cameras mounted in vehicles can play a role in policing bad driving. Keep an eye on the car on the left. It's travelling very close to the car in front. Then it tries to pass. It clips the other car, sending it spinning off the road and down a steep bank. Instead of stopping to help, the car takes off. Look at that again. Here he attempts to pass but doesn't indicate. And the car in front has moved across as well, then turns back, but is hit and taken out. The car speeds off, crossing lanes without indicating and making their getaway. But they didn't get away with it. Because the quick-thinking truckie activated his camera, the police were able to track the person responsible through their number plate. He was charged and convicted of dangerous driving. There's no doubt who's at fault in this next video. This truck is stuck in traffic as it heads into an intersection going straight ahead. Then suddenly the black car on the right decides to turn left, straight into the truck. Look at that. What was the driver thinking? If they had have indicated, the truck driver may have had a clue. Instead, they have a costly repair bill. After the break, the truck spins into the path of an oncoming truck and more tourists wreaking havoc on our roads. And would you like the chance to win your very own drive cam? To record video evidence in case you're ever involved in an accident or to report an incident to the police? Well, here's your chance. Keep watching Road Madness and at the end of the show answer a simple question and you'll go in the draw to win your own drive cam. Each week we show a video that features some driving behaviour that's just plain shocking, that leaves you thinking, what the truck? Our camera is in a truck on the motorway. It all looks perfectly normal. Virtually no traffic, nothing happening, a non-event. Look again. Over in the far right lane, as the truck passes, you can see the car behind, completely losing control, spinning and rolling off the motorway. It happens in seconds. Perhaps a tyre blew out as he was changing lanes. The main cause of tyre blowouts isn't too much air pressure as you'd expect. It's too little. Not enough tread on the tyre can also do it, or a weakness in the tyre wall caused by hitting the curb. While we're on the subject of tyres, that brings us to our neck minute moment. That's when a normal situation suddenly turns into road madness. Here's a truck gently making its way down a busy rural road.
Neck minute.
There's a sudden puff of smoke. The truck spins wildly out of control, finally coming to a stop, facing the other direction. You can see what looks like a tyre burst in here. But the driver does a good job keeping the truck under control. It's damn lucky it didn't happen a few seconds later, because look at what's coming, a bloody big truck. Our driving expert has his own view of what happened here.
Doesn't look to me like it was actually a tyre blowout, because you've got twin tyres on each side. One tyre had blown, the other tyre would have taken the weight. What I think's happened is the right-hand side rear brakes have locked up. Could be a mechanical fault, causing the vehicle to slide sideways and spin around.
Yep, some things truck drivers see are really crazy, and some things shouldn't be there at all. And it can be worse at night when they can't see what's in front of them until it might be too late. Like with this driver who's travelling down a dark country road when...
Holy just about hit a cow.
Yep, there are not many countries in the world where drivers share main highways with livestock. Fortunately, the truck driver sees these goats just in time and is able to slow down. They get out of the way in a hurry and are unharmed. But this driver will remember his night for a while as he comes across some wandering stock. Sheep come out of the darkness and there are loads of them. The driver hits at least one, but it looks like most of the flock are okay and run off into the night. This next driver has no idea what's going on outside his rig. Kids, you might want to look away. It's not pretty. The graphic display at the top of the screen is part of the truck cam technology and shows any impact to the truck. So we can see that he hit something, and then again. Sorry folks, but they were cows this truck driver hit. It's not just the animals that suffer in these types of incidents. Big animals can go through a windscreen and injure or kill the car's occupants. Or drivers may swerve to miss the animal and collide with trees, poles, or go down a bank. Some European car manufacturers put their new designs through what's called the moose test. And that's where the vehicle has to swerve suddenly to avoid an obstacle on the road, like an animal, without rolling over. As a general rule, we don't show fatalities out of respect for the family and other people involved. However, we do think that it's important for people to appreciate that the near misses you see on this show are actually near fatalities. Yes, people die on our roads when people drive badly. It's late and this truck has just rolled into a small town. On the right, a car approaches an intersection where our truck has the right of way. But the car doesn't give way. Instead, it drives straight out into the intersection. The truck has nowhere to go. The car goes right under the truck. It's flattened, and there's nothing the driver could have done once he'd made his first mistake. What happened here was the driver of the car mistook the gas pedal for the brake pedal, causing the car to power forward through the intersection instead of coming to a stop. In the past weeks, we've shown you mishaps with tourists in camper vans. Remember, many tourists come from countries where they drive on the right-hand side of the road and they're just not used to driving on the left. The truck is travelling down the main road of a small North Island town when a white rental van appears on the left, but instead of stopping, it pulls out straight in front of the truck. We assume it's because the van driver usually drives on the right-hand side of the road, so he forgot which side of the road the oncoming traffic comes from. As a result, he was still looking left when he pulled out into the path of the truck.
Almost time for a break, but we'll leave you with this video and ask, what happens next?
This truck is making its way down the motorway when a car on the outside lane decides it's time to overtake. After the break, what happens next in this motorway video? And find out what this truckie got so excited about in the middle of the night.
Oh my God, there's some...
When we left you, a car was overtaking a truck on the motorway and we asked, what happens next?
Here's the truck, and here's the car that overtakes it. Then it's straight across 2 lanes and onto the off-ramp. That is one crazy driver. That was so close. You have to wonder why he didn't just stay behind the truck and exit normally.
Speaking of normal, running a red light isn't normal. It's madness, as these following videos will show.
We'll start with your typical red light runner. This white car makes it across on a yellow light, but the green car following goes through a red. That will be a $150 fine, cha-ching, and 20 demerit points. Thank you very much. The lights are already red, and most motorists are obeying the road rules. That's until this black BMW joins the lineup, but only for seconds, as he's often running through a red light. Here it is again. That's the car here, and it literally does only stop for a second. If he'd waited 6 more seconds, the lights would have turned green. Craziness. And here we go. Lights are red and pedestrians are crossing when this black car slows down for the lights and the person walking. But that's all they do, slow down. Look at the cheek of this. The car slows down and then does a slight swerve and takes off. The man crossing the road watches on and must be wondering what just happened. A wet night at the same intersection. The lights are red when this station wagon ploughs through and straight into a truck. The car looks to be travelling very fast and the conditions aren't great. But the lights have been red for a while. The driver locks up the wheels and skids into the truck.
Unbelievable. What's even more insane about those drivers is where they chose to do it. That red light camera is right opposite Auckland Central Police Station.
But not all red light runners are driving at speed. These street cleaners trigger the cameras when they briefly cross the painted lines.
Over the weeks, we've been showing you how other motorists on the road can annoy truck drivers. Well, let's have a look at some more, starting with motorway on-ramps.
The truck is about to pull onto the motorway past the car with a horse float attached. It suddenly pulls out in front of the truck, which swerves to avoid a crash. You can see from the angle that the horse float had obscured the driver's view. They've paced to check the road is clear before pulling out. Cutting a truck off at an intersection will get you a blast on the horn.
Cutting off a truck on the motorway won't win you any friends either.
Watch as the car on the left nips in front of the truck, forcing the driver to hit the brakes. Cue some colourful language. And even on the way to the supermarket, no indicating, and the driver just swung in front of the truck.
We'll end tonight's show with a collection of videos of some of the weird and unusual things that our truck drivers come across on their travels.
This driver doesn't look like they're causing too many problems. That's until the truck driver realises it's a mobility scooter and gives the driver a hurry up. And no, that's not a spaceship coming down the road. It turns out to be a house. And what's this? Another house? No, it's an enormous catamaran spanning virtually the whole width of the road.
But we've saved the most unusual for last, and you'll have to take our truck driver's word for this, and we've had to beep out some of the words for our more sensitive viewers.
It's 1:45 in the morning, and a resident of the small South Island town is obviously having trouble sleeping.
Oh my God, there's someone flashing himself, standing there flashing himself in the main street of Ashburton. No shit, he's pulling his cock.
Well, that's woken up the truck driver. If you blinked and missed it, the offender was here, next to the pedestrian crossing. Taking advantage of the good lighting, I guess. Right, now's your chance to win your very own drive cam supplied by in-vehicle camera systems. And you too can be part of Road Madness. Simply text us the answer to this question and go in the draw to win. Earlier, we showed you this video. Here's a truck gently making its way down a busy rural road. Then there's a sudden puff of smoke. The truck spins wildly out of control, finally coming to a stop, facing the other direction. What was the most likely reason for the truck spinning out of control? Was it A, it hit something on the road, B, a tyre blowout, or C, a mechanical fault in the rear axle or rear brakes? Text either A, B or C to the number you see below and go in the draw to win your very own drive cam. And I'll see you next week for more Road Madness. Next week on Road Madness, what caused this dramatic crash on a bridge? Tourists driving camper vans create mayhem, and shocking driving at ridiculous speeds.